This is your girl Taz,
And your girl Sha.
and we're your hosts on TLD. Today we'll be talking about pets. Some people call them their fur babies, their kids, their friends, even their grandbabies or grand pets. Today we have Lovelle on the show. He's here to talk about his love for pets. Tell us in the comment section below, what are some of the names you or your loved ones call your pets? Or, how you guys describe them. According to statistics, the pet industry is worth 261 billion as of 2023.
Wow.
Clearly, animals are receiving more love than humans, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but that's how I feel. But anyways, not to say that they shouldn't, but we can see, this type of game in humans, it would be awesome. Either way, let's take care of each other like we take care of our pets. So, how you guys feeling out there? Shaw? Lavelle?
We-
Feeling
We're
lovely
feeling
today.
good.
Okay. So let's talk about these fur babies. So let's see. Sha, how do you feel about having a pet?
I feel that having a pet could be very beneficial for people of all ages. For a child, I think it could teach them responsibility. For example, if they have a dog, they would have to walk the dog a couple of times a day. It teach them to, feed the dog a couple of times a day, and also bathing it. And it allows the child to think about someone other than themselves.
Right,
So I
right,
think that could be one of the things about having a pet. And for, adults, it could help with alleviating loneliness. In our last
right.
episode, the one entitled Weights of a Woman, we talked about how about 50% of the population, they're single. So with being single, a lot of them are living alone, and pets could really help alleviate some of that loneliness.
I agree.
And along with that, if someone has a pet, again with the walking, it's going to make them do more physical activity. So if they don't have a backyard, they're going to be going outside, maybe, taking long walks with their pet. So I think there are a lot of advantages to having a pet. And
Right,
it could help someone if they're depressed, if they have to take care of their pet, that's going to make them, like, say they're just laying in the bed feeling sad, that pet is going to need their attention. They're going to have to
right,
get up and feed it, and it's going to may take them out of their depression some.
right.
So I think there's a number of benefits to having a pet.
It's definitely going to spark something within them. I agree. I agree. So,
Yes.
Lavelle.
Oh man, I just got to go ahead and add on to what Shaw was saying, man. It's a lot of benefits to owning pets. Going on to the emotional support animals, a lot of these guys, when they're going through different anxieties, different, mental health and stuff in their day by day lives, just having that extra support, whether it's a dog or a cat, animals just benefit in that aspect, um, for me, I want to say I actually own two dogs, um, Apollo and Athena. That's a boy and a girl. And for what they do for me, when I have bad times or when I'm down and out, or if I want to just get out and go explore the world, I could do that with the dogs. And I can honestly say, when I'm out and about at the dog parks or at the parks and people are approaching me and my dogs and they're telling me, my dogs look good or what different breed, it makes you feel some type of way. Um,
Right, right,
and it doesn't have to be just because of the breed that they are, but it just makes you feel some type of joy that somebody's noticing your dogs. Or for me,
right.
like I say, if I have a problem in my day, I could just go to my dog. They don't care what your breath smell like. They don't care about what you look like. Their tail's gonna wag as long as you give them a pat on the butt. So
Right, right,
Wow.
right, right. And animals definitely strike up conversation, basically what you're saying. People are intrigued by them. People, like you said, love the colors, how playful they are, or, just how their eyes look. It's definitely a conversation
right,
piece.
yeah.
Yes. Taz, I know you enjoy pets and have had various pets over the years. What do you think has caused your love of pets?
Oh, well, just I guess growing up with pets. My first pet was a dog. I grew up in a house that where we had dogs. So
Hmm.
definitely that's what sparked my love for having pets. And once I started to have my children and we started having the different types of pets, I guess it extended even further. I
What kind of
believe
pets did y'all have?
like I said, we grew up with dogs, and from dogs, like I said, I had a turtle before. Then, with my children, we're talking about snakes, we're talking about birds, pigeons in particular, we're talking about hamsters and cats.
Oh,
Beetles. I
wow.
mean, the list go on and on. My son had tons of insects. It goes on and on. So, it's interesting. When you have them and you get to know them and watching how they behave. For me, I think you really have to be a certain type of person, because I don't think everyone, you know, can be considered, I guess, animal lovers. You know what I'm saying? I think it's some kind of love and care and understanding that it comes that you have to have when you're dealing with animals. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I think I guess that's who I am. So, and I think that's what helps me to be able to extend that love to something that is not human. But one
Hmm.
thing I like about them is just, for dogs is their personalities. They're trustworthy, they're caring, protective.
Hmm.
Like I said, they're fun to watch, fun to play with. And let's not forget their appreciation for you. You know what I'm saying? Like you may not
Yeah.
necessarily get that or feel that within humans, but like Lovelle was saying, when you're having a bad day, they're not going to judge you. They're going to be waiting at the door for you. They're going to be wagging their tail. They're going to lick you. They're going to be looking at like, hey, what's good today? They kind of change your perspective, or they change how you was feeling around just a little bit, even though they
Wow.
don't necessarily maybe understand, but I guess they can understand. I don't know about that, but either way,
They're consistent, it sounds
right,
like.
right. They are.
Very
And
consistent.
it's nothing like the greeting that they give you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So
Well,
let's
that's
see.
good.
Well, let me ask you, Lavelle. Let's see. Um, well, I know you said you had, two dogs. What other pet would you choose? Or what other pets have you had? Besides just dogs.
Oh man, I had a variety of animals. I mean, going from any animals that's living in the water to reptiles to, I mean, creatures flying in the sky. I mean, gosh, just listing a couple off the top of my head, I could definitely say I've owned plenty of fish, turtles, um, ducks, um,
Ducks.
chickens, guineas, uh, man, dogs, different dogs. I had German shepherds, German shorthair pointers. I've had an Aussie, snakes, plenty of snakes, lizards, all the way down to insects. I had the mealworms that turned into beetles. I've used to collect honeybees, fire ants. It was pretty cool watching the fire ants dig tunnels and how the fire ants came together and help each other when it digging this tunnel. Like I used to grab ants and put them in a bottle and watch them carry little rocks one by one and put them in a designated location and go back to that tunnel. So it goes to show
Wow.
you what these animals can do, even from it being something as big as a well to something as little as an ant. So
Right.
I've owned which everything you could think of, really.
So
Birds.
let me so let me ask you, if you had to choose. Now, like I said again, I know we know you got, dogs, but besides your dogs, what other animal would you want to have or own, or you would like to have besides just, dogs?
Uh, you know, and are we talking as far as in living in my household, my daily life routine, or are we just saying,
It doesn't have to be, because I know this day and age, you mentioned ducks. You got people that have cows, people have pigs, people have horses. So I would just say, besides dogs that you currently have, if you didn't have them, what other animal you think you would have?
I would definitely have a whole bunch of horses, longhorn cows, um, different stuff.
So basically, you want to farm.
Yeah, different stuff that's a part of the livestock.
Okay. 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 Sounds
Would you
good.
like to grow the livestock to sell for food or
Well, that's a good question, Shah. I tell you what, I've also asked myself that question. Knowing me, I would like to keep everything. If I started breeding it, I would want to keep everything instead of selling it. And I guess that's just
okay.
something of me wanting to hold on to different things. I don't know.
Okay, cool.
Right. But at least that would be an option because, like I said again, if you got chickens, you can sell some eggs. If you got cows, you can be selling some milk. So it's
Bingo.
it's definitely an option. But I can see how people figure, oh yeah, I want to open up a livestock area and sell. But then like I say, you become so attached to your pets. It's like, you know what, I don't know if I want to do all of this or use them for these type of things. So I get it. So Shaw, let me ask you, um, why do you think pets are so important to people?
I think they're so important because really they are a part of the family. If you have a pet, it's a part of your family. It's something that you see every day, something that can protect your family, keep you company. Like I was saying before, like if this person is alone, if they live
Right,
alone, that pet might be the main interaction that they have with something living.
right.
So the loyalty that they display to their owner, I think those are just some of the main reasons why.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about too, I read an article in the New York Times, and Pope Francis was talking to kind of scolding couples for having opting to have pets over children. And he was saying people who have pets instead of children were being selfish and exhibiting a denial of fatherhood or motherhood. And it diminishes us, it takes us away from humanity.
Mm,
He said, yes, dogs and cats, he thinks it takes the place of children. And it leads to harsh consequences like not having children to feed into the different pension systems. So
mm,
yeah, he then some people responded to that article saying like childcare is an issue, and
mm-hmm.
that could be a reason why they're not having children. But he just really just felt like it was not a good thing because the birth rate numbers are going down.
Right.
And that just kind of brings me to a question because I see people at the parks with their dogs and baby carriages, and they even have like holders on their body so to hold their pet around their body and so they could
Mm-hmm.
carry it kind of like a mom would carry her baby. Lavelle, do you think that people are trying to replace their relationships that they have with people with relationships with pets?
Uh, I don't think that's necessarily the case, and here's one of the reasons why. Let's just say, the people that's doing that, right? What family, or let's just say some of the women that's doing that, or the guys. Let's just say they're not even able to have kids, and
That's
this is their.
that is
Go ahead.
a good point because everyone cannot are not physically able to have kids. But go ahead.
Exactly, and they're not able to have kids, and so they're these animals that they're having. It's kind of put them in a mind frame like this is still my baby, and I can still do this with this pet, even if I'm not able to have kids, and so I don't think they're trying to replace animals with babies. Another reason is like you were saying earlier, I mean, this is just a part of their family now. So it's like, if these animals are not pooping on them, or if they're not doing stuff, that's crazy, why not, be able to do what you do with the baby in the front, I don't know.
Mhm.
That's just what I think about it.
Right, right,
Okay.
right. No, I mean, I think that statement, comment, whatever you want to call it, it was a little. I think it's a little harsh, and I don't look at it that way either. I think some people are looking at the state of the world and feel like animals and humans are not on the same level. You understand? And it's the responsibility is the same, but it's different. And I think they prefer a fur baby versus in a human. Not to say that some of the same things can happen where, you could abandon your pet or, you could mistreat your pet and all those things. But I just think people just look at it just different. If I had to give my pet away, it's not as hard or bad as if I had to give my human baby away. You get what I'm saying? Um,
Hmm.
and not saying that for the ones who had to do that didn't feel just that attached if it was a human. But for him to say, "Oh, it's cutting into the pension and stuff like that," I think it's more to that than just people are turning to their pets versus children. I just think they just see like, "Yo, I don't know if I want to bring my children into the weight of the world now." Things is hard. The pay is not that great. It's not that easy to take care of family. Not to
Right.
say that pets are cheap either. You know what I'm saying? But I think most people just look at the fact of animals come with no judgment. You get what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
don't judge you. They don't talk back. They don't
Hmm.
it just to me is what an animal give you. Maybe a human may not be able to give. And I think that's how people are looking at it a little more so, you know? So
Hmm. That's interesting.
yeah, yeah.
What age do you think is a good age for a child to have their first pet?
Um if I had to think about, I really don't think it's really no age specific. I think at different stages of a child's life, certain things takes place, where they are more responsible or they lack responsibility. So it really depends on that child and their family dynamics.
Okay.
I guess to dive deeper, I think it would be nice for a child to grow up with their pet, with a pet. I just think,
Hmm.
you know, um, it just kind of helps them build that bond and they'll appreciate wanting to take care of that kid versus, you have a child say, "Oh, mommy, daddy, I want a pet." And then when you give it to them and they're loving on it and then they don't want to be bothered no more. So then it's like, "Hey, you got to walk the dog." "Not me. I don't want to do that." And vice versa.
Hmm.
But I think if they're newborn, like the baby is newborn, and they kind of grown like almost like siblings, I think it's just the responsibility is different and it's an understanding. So I
Right.
personally think it should be, hey, as soon as they have them, like, hey, let's introduce the dog or the cat or and let them grow up together. It just gives to
That's a
me
good idea.
I think the bond
Yeah.
is stronger and it definitely gives a sense of responsibility, that'll be instilled in that child. What do you think of Lavelle? What are your thoughts on it?
Um, I can honestly say I don't think any child should be able to have a dog unless they're, responsible in the fact that they can wipe their own behinds and be left at the house alone when their parents are at work, because it's a lot that comes with owning dogs as far as and you need to know if you pull on your dog's tail a certain way it's going to bite
Mm.
you or it's just different things that a dog or any like even a cat, just the different signs. Kids are not thinking about that. It's just go 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 with kids. So it's like
Right,
Mhm.
us being adults, you know not to go mess with that geese in the park. But for kids, they're gonna go run after that geese, and the geese is gonna
right,
take away. Vice versa, us, we're gonna go up to the geese, kind of know like, hey, this may be a repercussion. Then the geese is chasing you. So
right,
I
right,
really don't think that animals are for just any age kid or any irresponsible kid. So
right. Well, that's what I say. I think it could be grow up together because I think they'll learn versus a situation where a kid wants it and we want to play with it or like you said do those things that you mentioned and don't know some of the repercussions or the responsibilities that come with it. Versus when a kid was grow up with it, they seen it and they learned how to do certain things. It's almost
right.
becomes like second nature. So but I get what you said, and then you made a great point on that. So, so
But
I guess it just all depends on the situation.
well, even
Yeah.
then, growing up with animals, it's just like how even human beings change. As you grow, you change. You develop different, immunities. And the same with animals, just because you grew up with this dog from a baby doesn't mean that this dog can't switch its feelings or it's temperament. Everything
Right,
has
right,
temperament. So I get what you're
right,
saying.
right.
So yep.
Right. I mean, you don't really hear too much of that, but like you said, those are key points because that can happen. Because like I said, it's like when anything. It could be a chemical imbalance, and then one minute he was a loving dog, and now he's a little off his rocker. So that definitely makes a lot of sense. So let me ask you. Earlier, I read the statistics. The industry for pets is 261 billion. How much have you contributed to that cost?
Oh man.
Or should I say record?
I definitely can tell you I probably contributed over 5 grand or more with just the two dogs that I have now, and that's just including the medical bills, keeping up with their. Oh wow, no, I'm gonna say more than 5 grand just alone with their food. I'm gonna say over
Right,
10 grand or so.
right.
It's a high maintenance. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say yeah. That's probably. I know I just kind of threw that out at you, but you probably, if you really sat down to calculate, it's just like when anything else, rent. You don't just say, oh, it's just 1 month. And same thing with dogs. We know that you buying a big bag or something, but you got to still calculate how many times I'm buying this bag of food, how many times I'm buying, maybe toys or waters or whatever it is that you provide for your animals. That stuff probably you probably don't even realize how much you really truly have spent.
Well, with them almost being 3 years, so let's put that into perspective. Toys, treats, collar leashes,
Mm-hmm.
just different, getting them groomed, shots.
Mm-hmm.
My girl dog, she gets into a lot of stuff. Just medical bills alone, as far as them getting injured, can be worse than if you a human being being injured and paying probably $2 out of your pocket, and a dog, you got to pay 1,000, two, three, four, so forth on.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, it's probably way more than what if you can imagine. But yeah, that and they said I think in the next 10 or 20 years, it's going to skyrocket from there. I think it went up an extra 200 and something, you know,
right.
billion. So I think when I looked at the statistics, I don't know, it was between 500 and something. So we talking about what is that next trillions?
Yeah, that's crazy. But I do want to go ahead and just let it be known, probably over 10 grand. Nothing close to 15 so far, but 10 grand for sure.
And
Right.
that's just for the dogs, and you've had several other pets.
Right.
Right, right, right. Yeah, you just talking on that, but yeah, I can imagine it can get pricey. Um, so let me ask you, how is it when you're traveling? What do you do with your pets when you're traveling?
Well, it's kind of hard, if you really don't have anybody. So you do got different options as far as in boarding facilities. And with my dogs, they're hunting dogs. So a lot of the guys at different hunting gun club ranches and stuff like that, they'll take your dogs in. And when I'm
Hmm.
going out of town, I'll give them a call to see if they had any opening spots. They'll tell me if they had an opening spot for the days or the weeks that I'm gonna be gone, and basically I put them in boarding school until I get back,
Okay.
and that's
So how has that worked? I mean, have you noticed that your dogs are content? Do you feel like your dogs have anxieties? Do you feel like they're getting, the best care that you would provide for them?
well, these guys deal with dogs, every day of their lives, so I would hope that they're getting the best care, and I'm pretty content with that. Um, I feel like they're getting, better care than what I could do for them as far as in, them being able to go do what they want and being trained out in the field and doing what they love as dogs, you know.
Right.
So
Okay.
it
Well, so that means that they're pretty content. I'm just thinking when you come back, it's like when anything, you're checking your babies. It's like, hey, are you good? Is everything fine? So
right.
you're pretty confident and
It's
okay,
a vacation
sounds
for them
good.
and a vacation for me.
Right,
So they're
right.
not apprehensive when you're dropping them off. They're okay with just going in.
Right.
Okay.
So what do you call your pets? I know you said they're Athena and what did you say the other
Apollo.
one? Apollo.
And an Apollo.
Okay, so do you refer to them as your fur babies, or you just strictly use their name? Because there's so many names out there now.
Yeah,
Or do you?
those are my babies for sure. Those are my
Okay,
babies.
okay. Which one is more Which one clings more to you? Which one is more of your protector?
I'm gonna say the girl because she definitely is the ride or die. She'll go above and beyond just to make sure I'm okay.
Okay.
The boy is the one, he's the one. If somebody's breaking in your house, he's like, "Hey, what can I help you take out of here?" The girl's gonna definitely be on standoffish mode with everybody.
Right, right. So let me ask you, what are some of the things that you notice or that you can tell people who are new to this? Like, what to look out for, whether it's, animals being sick or, like you said, when you're going out hunting and, animals get ticks and stuff, what are some of the signs or some of the things you have to look for, that people can look for to tell sickness within their animal or their dog, in particular?
Well, if you live with your dog, you pretty much know how they act day by day. If your dog's normally happy and wagging his tail and always with you when you're around, sitting on the couch trying to be a lap dog, you just know your dog when he's happy and he's healthy. And if you see your
Mm-hmm.
dog just sat down in a corner or in his kennel and doesn't want to basically be messed with, then there's something going on with your dog. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to just put it out there. I mean, your dog is gonna, even if he's have a stomach ache, your dog is still gonna make himself be known. Like, hey, I'm still here. I want to still play. But if there's something like
Right,
real ill within your dog, you're gonna know because that dog that you're not gonna know him anymore. So you're gonna know
right.
for sure.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
As far as
Excellent.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I just want to mention, I heard you say stuff with ticks and, different fleas and stuff like that. I mean, they have preventatives like they got the I can't even remember the name, but I want to say Trivectum. You give those to them. It lasts for like 3 months, 3 to 6 months per dosage, and they pretty much keep the fleas and ticks off of them. Fleas can give them Lyme disease or ticks. I believe it was ticks. So yeah, that's also another
Hmm.
thing to watch out for. Those ticks are pretty bad for your pets.
Right, right. Have you ever experienced something like that? And do you know any of the signs of that?
Well, for pretty much if you're for fleas, if your dog is scratching nonstop, I mean, and he's making
Right,
noises like "yeah, get off me," if he got fleas. For ticks, you can pretty much see a tick, and you want to pretty much catch the tick before he latches on. Believe it or not, ticks don't latch on right away. They try to find a crevice
right,
within the
Mm.
the dog parts, and so once he find this crevice, then they latch on and then they suck blood and blood and blood, more blood until they blow up.
right,
They don't know when to stop, but they do
right,
transmit when they do latch on.
right. And don't some of them burrow? I think I've seen some where they can burrow within the skin. They don't always all the time stay on the outside of the skin.
They also do burrow in the skin. Yes, they do that, and they
Hmm.
lay eggs once they do that.
Right, right.
Mm.
So I have heard of
So
that.
So, yeah, you mentioned earlier that your dogs, you take your dogs to the, dog park and things like that. How do you think they feel about that? One, and two, how do they interact with other animals? The other pets out there.
So as I pull up to a dog park and pretty much they're seeing all the dogs. I mean, it's like they're going to doggy daycare. I mean, it's like they don't care what that dog look like. They just know it's fun. Like they're barking, they're
Right,
ready to get out, they're ready to get in the the playpen with the other dogs. Um, so I feel like that does make them very happy to see stuff that look like them because they're used to looking at you.
hmm,
So when they see another dog, they're like, oh snap, another one of me. So
right,
it's time to go. So, fast forward to my dogs meeting other dogs in the dog parks. Just with any, just with all life and nature. There's an alpha or boundaries. I want to say boundaries in everything. And so with dogs, they like to do the alpha deal. If your male dog is intact and there's another male dog that's intact, there's gonna be who's dominant, who's more stronger. So um, typically, my boy dog, when he finds out there's a dog that's up to no good and he's trying to, test him, he'll basically go away and kind of avoid it. He does not like confrontation. But
okay,
if the dogs proceed to be mean and test his boundaries, he will snap at him to let him know. And if the other dog snap back, they would proceed to fight and see who's dominant. Um,
Oh, okay.
so
Wow.
that's just from the aggressive side of it. That's when things can get bad. But for the better sides of it, when everything's calm and the dogs are just being dogs, I mean, you're gonna see a whole bunch of tagging, chasing, just different smelling the butts. I mean, it's crazy. Dogs just going up to each other, smelling butts. I mean, but
That's probably the sense of like I say, who are you? Okay, let me smell you. But I guess all that stuff plays a part.
right.
Well, before we get out of here, Lovelle, why don't you let the guys know who you are, how they can get in contact with you, and a little bit more about yourself. Give them your social media or your business number or whatever it is that people may want to know more about you or you know just to see what else that you have going on.
Well, we all know my name, Lovelle. I go by Lovelle out here. What I do for work is I actually catch and sell birds for a living, and the specific bird is pigeons. That's more pertaining to the hunting world and people who do a lot of the skeet shooting and stuff like that. It is an actual sport out here. You don't just get invited to this type of deal if you're just the average Joe. It would have to be something you're invited to. But however, if you have dogs, that you're training up for, pheasant, duck hunting, I can provide you pigeons to help you guys out with that. You could reach me from 682-622-1917. If you ever need any birds, catch them all pigeons, where to go.
All right, right.
Um,
Any social media handles? I mean, if you're on,
I'm on
um,
Facebook at Catch 'em All Pigeons.
all right, Instagram, nothing.
Catch 'em All Pigeons.
Okay, well, catch them all pigeons is the name of it, the name of the game. Well, thank you, Lavelle,
All
for
right.
joining us today.
Yes, thanks for joining us. You
Oh
gave
yeah.
us an interesting perspective on being a pet owner and being in the business of handling animals. So we appreciate you coming on the show today.
Hey, I appreciate you
Yes,
guys, Taz and Sha.
that concludes our show for today. Check us next time.
All
Don't
righty.
forget to subscribe, share, and like.
Yeah, you guys
Thank
do
you for
that,
joining
man.
us.